Hey, welcome to the show, Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. This is Coach James Short, aka Shorty. And this is a show for those within the real estate industry wanting to lead and grow their real estate business. It's a series of interviews that we conduct for those within the industry. So we're finding out what those leaders are within the industry, what makes them tick, what's their story, what are their strategies, and how to become the leaders and the growers within the industry. But also, it's an interview series with those outside of the industry. I'm always a big believer of looking at a whole different part of the pie rather than just focusing on one part of the pie. Because what it does, it allows you to have a different perspective, allows you to get snippets or golden nuggets from those outside of the industry that can look in the industry and go, there's a different perspective. And so I encourage you to reach out to the guests. I encourage you to lean into these series to find out how can these pieces of information, experiences, stories help you lead and grow your real estate business. Today, we are very excited. Oh, this guy is a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to get inside of his brain and pick it and find out so much information. Steve Huey, the founder of I Fly Flat, has spent over 12 years mastering the art of transforming credit card points and frequent flyer points into business class flights on the cheap. His strategic use of points offers the ultimate travel advantage. During his 11 tenure as a CPA accountant at Macquarie Bank, Steve honed his financial expertise, cracking the code of complex point systems to unlock their hidden value. Through his systematic approach, he has helped thousands of businesses turn routine expenses into business class tickets, effectively converting everyday expenditures into high-flying adventures. Known as the Points Whisperer, Steve is the Australian travel industry's go-to points expert. Major media outlets such as TV channels 7, 9, and 10, SBS, ABC, 2GB radio, podcasts, and newspapers nationwide regularly seeks his insights. It's an honor and a privilege to have him on the show today. Legend, guru, the man himself, Steve. Welcome, mate.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. I'm so excited to be sharing. Like using points to fly has been my passion for 12 years. So yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you. Thanks, James.
Mate, absolute pleasure. Mate, take us back to that transition 12 years ago. What was that aha moment for you that sparked this incredible idea?
Yeah, actually, well, 12 years ago was when I started iFly Flat as a business, but I think that the idea dropped probably about 15 years ago when
Wow.
I flew business class for the first time. When I was working at Macquarie Bank and they sent me to India, they flew me business class. And I remember the time when you get on board, and for some reason, I was wearing a suit for some reason. And they said, "Oh, sir, can I take your jacket?" I thought, what the hell is
They
going on?
talking to me?
And from that point, of course, the trip was fantastic. And I was hooked. And I thought, this is the way. Like, this is the way travel is. Everything else is all about getting to this point.
Wow. And then so you had that realization of, wow, this is amazing. What were the steps that you took after that process or after that trip?
Yeah. So I can sort of see the distinct differences because before I flew business class, I sort of didn't know what it was like. You see the ads and go, oh, well, yeah, one day, but it's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. So after you start flying on for work and start getting points. So I started getting frequent flyer points myself. And then soon I realized I had enough frequent flyer points to fly business class to Singapore myself for leisure. And that was the time when I thought, wow, these points have a real value. Like I didn't cost me anything to earn them, but now I could get something from them. And that's when I thought, well, if I could just get more of these frequent flyer points, then I get more free flights. And that was the one plus one that added up in my mind. And actually getting points is much easier than making money. So I thought, well, if I can get more easy points, then I get more cheap or free holidays. And that was when my mind started thinking, how can this be?
And so that idea of how can this be and starting to sort of crack the code of the frequent flyer points process, how has that changed with the business over the years and what has it become today?
Yeah, so I really, in a way, really made it data backed. So there's actually a real formula to using points. The thing about using points is like money, But what I find very interesting is that many people are collecting points on a random ad hoc basis. So they don't treat points as money. They just treat points as this random thing that just comes and goes and whatever. So the way I approach it is real data driven. If I know that points can get you a business class ticket, just say an example, return business class ticket cash wise to Europe will cost at least $12,000 to buy. And the magic is you only need about 300,000 points to get that same ticket. So in sheer maths is that if you can get those 300,000 points for less than $12,000, then you got yourself a discount because you're swapping 300,000 points for $12,000 value. And the thing is, these days you can get it for less than $6,000. So you basically double your value. There's not many things in life where you can basically pay 50%, like shares, for example. If shares you knew, then you put all your money in it. So the same thing with points. So that basically I just worked out a data-backed way of, a trip from A to B will cost X number of points, but it sells for Y dollars. Well, as long as I can get the points for less than that, then I can make a discount. That's repeatable.
Love it. You mentioned something about most people do it sort of ad hoc and here and everywhere. Where else do people fall down in or don't get right in relations to using their points properly or getting points properly?
Yeah, I think most people are still stuck with the idea that you earn points by flying, which is true. So, but that was quite the original idea. You earn frequent flyer points by flying on a flight, and but nowadays you can supplement that a large extent. Actually, in a way, you can actually get more points by spending these days. So spending money on a credit card. Now, of course, the thing about credit cards is it's all about always paying off on time, not using it as credit. But if you just use it as a payment mechanism, you can actually earn way more points on a credit card. And that's where business owners come in. The people I help predominantly, they got business expenses, they got, say, suppliers, materials, rents, ATO, payroll, for example, that they pay is running the business. If you put it into the system, you can actually earn dependable, reliable points. And then you know that you're going to have X number of points every year that you can spend. But if you just rely on earning points by flying's not very reliable. You may fly once a month, you may not fly once a month. Then you never actually know how many points you've got. And I think that's where the big difference is. Random occurrence of points earning versus a reliable system of points earning.
Yeah, I love it. And you mentioned there about helping business owners with their points, because obviously, yeah, there's recurring monthly expenses that are going out of the business each month. Where would you not be able to help a business owner?
For me, typically if they're really small, because it all actually comes down to numbers. The methodology applies whether you're a small company or a really large company. Take the example to go to Europe, 300,000 points to go return business class to Europe. Generally, $1 earns you 1 point, which means that you've got to spend $300,000 sometime. Generally, if it's going to take you 2 years to spend $300,000, let the system still works. You still get yourself a ticket. They take you 2 years, and these days, 2 years is a very long time frame.
Yep.
But if you had a business that spent $300,000 per month, for example, then you're picking up a ticket every month. And then that gets very exciting because the world is your oyster then. So the whole system works for large and small businesses, but generally like you have a $1 million plus turnover, that's a sweet spot because then you can get 2 or 3 flights per year, every year. And that's how often most people fly anyway.
Hey guys, just a little side note here. How's it going? Are you on track this year? I know that sometimes this part of the year we can feel like we're in a bit of a grind, a bit of in the trenches. Are you on track from the original plans that you set out for the rest of this year? What I've realized is that with this time of year, we get so distracted and we've got trying to chase so many shiny balls and go down so many rabbit holes. And that's why I created a program called the 90. It's a framework that actually allows you to achieve more in 90 days than ever before. Some of the feedback that we've got from some of the people that have used the process, the 90, is that they've achieved more in 90 days than the whole previous year. So if you'd like to have the tools, have the techniques, have the framework on the 90, so you and your team can achieve more in 90 days, than ever before. What it does, and it impacts you of how to get clear, what you need to do, and who you need to be to show up in order to achieve the things you want to achieve over the next 90 days. Simply head over to jamesshort.com.au, click on join the waitlist, fill in your details, and one of the team members will be in touch and take you through the 90 framework. On with the show. Yeah, love it. How has the points industry changed over the years? Has there been much changes? And where do you see it going into the future?
Yeah, so in the past, as I was running my business, every time the airlines change the number of points to fly, generally it always goes up. So you might used to cost 160,000 points to fly, and then 250, now 300,000 points to return, for example. I just go, oh no, that's no good value. But actually, what I've noticed is there's two sides to the system. One side is how many points you need to fly, cost to fly, but other side is how easy it is to get the points. So in the past, credit cards was pretty much the only way you can get points. So depending on your spending, but now you can have ways to earn points through like a payment service, which allows you to use them as an intermediary to pay everybody. So in the past, if a supplier never took credit cards, that was it. You had no option to pay them. But nowadays, you can use a payment service and you can pay every single dollar through your credit card in order to earn points. So therefore, the ease of earning points has increased, although the number of points to fly has gone up. But then that means that it's all about supply and demand. If you can get enough points to satisfy your trip, then you can always win. But if you can't get enough points, so nowadays I feel like the ability to get points is unlimited for a business owner, especially even for the individual. So therefore, the case is that you just got to find time to go places. The future, I feel like it's going to be much the same. Inflation is always going to occur in every aspect. Right now we talk about price inflation, cost of living inflation. The number of points to fly has not really gone up in the last couple of years. They've kept steady. But we know that roughly every 5 years, the airlines will make a change to their system, which means that will cost more. It's inevitable because the airlines actually pushing so many points out into the system, they have to reflect a change. But that's just a normal everyday, that's just an inflationary issue that occurs on all products.
It really is a number crunching process, isn't it? Like I'm just hearing is like more numbers, more numbers, more numbers. It's phenomenal. So in relations to the iFly flat program that you run, how do you help? Because I can imagine like if I was a business owner, okay, for example, earning over $1 million, I've got all these expenses, and it's just like it's just another thing to do on my list to then go through and go, okay, what's the best program? Like how do you solve that problem of helping those business owners take away just another item on their to-do list to do?
Yeah. So number one is start to travel. Only if the business owner wants to travel, because that's the outcome of everything you do. If a business owner wants to travel 2 or 3 times a year somewhere, basically what we can do, we actually design a method which is tailored towards where they want to go and how often. They can basically fly business class for half price, as long as they keep running a business. And the key about running a business is how you can generate points. If you sold your business, for example, then you won't have the ability to generate points anymore. But for all the business owners I know, even anyone that sells the business, you wait 6 months and they have a brand new business that they kicked off. They cannot stay away from running a business. So I think once you're an entrepreneur, once you're a business owner, you're always a business owner. So basically perpetually for the rest of your life, once you understand the system. So what we do is we provide advisory we look at your business expenses, payroll, rents, suppliers, even FX transfers, and work out how to pay each of them. We cost out different methods, and we actually provide like a financial model. Say, well, if you're going to spend $1 million paying bills, this is how many fees it'll cost you. But in return, how many points you earn and the number of business class flights you get on the back of that. So you can compare costs versus benefit, and it's quite clear. It's about half price business class. And then once you got the points, and we also have a flight concierge service where we do the flight bookings for you. We find these seats, we book them. So basically, it's like a whole flywheel. We help you earn the points from your own expenses, and then we help book the flight so you fly, and it works out to be roughly half price buying a ticket.
Wow. Makes sense. I love it. I love it. So cool. So much value right there. Steve, on our show, we have our 60-second quiz to find out a little bit more about our guests. Are you willing to play?
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, I got to do some quick thinking. Just came
Yeah.
back from holidays.
Here we go. Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie. Oh man, I actually thought about that. I don't actually watch many movies. It's a little quirk. It's like whenever on a plane. Oh, sorry, this is not 60 seconds. Tell a quick
All right.
story. I'm always watching someone else's movie. So you look over and you watch someone else's movie, but you can't hear what's going on. But it's like it's interesting. You're trying to work out what the hell's going on.
Totally.
But actually, that's my favorite pastime on a plane. I actually watch what someone else is watching without having the commitment of watching a whole 2 hours. Very quirky answer.
That is different. I love it. What's your favorite food?
Oh, Japanese for sure. Japanese. I was in Tokyo recently and I just ate like a storm.
So good. Now, for you, what's your favorite holiday destination?
Oh, I like big cities. I like to go to the energy places like Hong Kong, Tokyo, New York, or even London. So like all those big cities because I like to, because when you see in the air, you see the big city and you land on the ground, there's so much things happening. So I love big cities.
So good. What's your morning routine?
Morning routine, I tend to have a morning blocked off so I can go for a swim or go for a walk or just to think about things before getting straight into action. Everyone says don't check your phone, but I still got to check my phone. You just got to know what's going on before when you wake up.
Yeah, nice. And what about an evening routine?
Evening routine, probably sleep around 11 type thing. Start winding down. I watch some TV, not much TV. But yeah, so 11 p.m. is the target sleep time. I've got a Whoop as well that
Yeah,
tells me
nice.
going.
Nice. And do you have a most embarrassing moment?
Most embarrassing moment. Well, I nearly missed a flight once. So, sometimes how on the boarding pass it tells you like what time. The time on the boarding pass is the time the plane takes off, not the time to turn up. So one time I was at the lounge and I thought, oh, I might mosey on down. And I was the last person on.
Oh,
They were like closing up and I was like shocked. So it wasn't embarrassing that no one else saw me, but for me, so now I get to the airport well in time and to the gate, sit around going, oh, I don't want to be the last one on board this plane.
that's so funny. If you were to invite five inspirational people to have dinner with, who would they be? They could be dead or alive.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Well, in terms of, I don't have in terms of people, but I have in terms of the types of people.
Mhm.
So I want to invite a sports person like an Olympian because the magic of an Olympian is that she focuses on pure performance in their craft and everything else gets ignored. And I want to understand how they can do that, plus also how they can get through their lives with no other skill sets doing other stuff. So like they might not be able to organize a holiday, but they can run 100 meters in the fastest time ever. So I feel in life there's a trade-off. You're either going to be excellent in one thing, but you can't be excellent in other bits. I like to speak to a business person, of course, because I'm running a business. I like to speak to a salesperson. I love to understand the endless drive to the deal, the endless just want to close the deal and nothing else matters. So I watch a lot of sort of like some real estate shows and they're like selling sunsets and sort of making Manhattan. Those salespeople, they make massive commissions. And you sort of think, oh, well, you make a couple $1 million in commissions and maybe your job's done. No, they want to keep going because the deal's them. So I want to talk to that person. And then I want to talk to someone in arts where it's not such performance based, but the creativity is such
Mm.
amazing. And last is someone in music because the music abilities, which I have none of it, how can they hear this beat and how can they turn it into something that it's just like music to people's ears? So those are the five. I don't have certain people, but the genres will be really, really interesting.
So interesting. Definitely. I love that. And now, if you were prime minister for the day, what's one thing that you would change?
I actually think that's probably the hardest job in the world because no one likes what you do, but you just got to do it. What will I change? Oh, well, in terms of travel, I'll just make travel easier because I believe that if travel is easier, people go overseas, they see things, they see good things and they see bad things. They see relative comparisons of how well we're living, how well they're living, and then bring the best ideas back so that enhances your life and also everyone around you. So for me, I'll make travel easier and have less restrictions on making, or maybe like short travel. The more people that travel, I think the better the world is.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. And last one, a best piece of advice.
Best piece of advice: get to the airport early, because you just want to take that stress away. Have how every time you get to the airport and you're running on time or slightly late and high stress, but you can't do anything about it. Best piece is get to the airport early and just chill out, and then everything runs on time.
So good. I love it. I love it. And so how can the people find out more about what you do, follow your journey, get in contact?
Yeah, so I'm post a lot on LinkedIn. So find me at Steve Hui, Hui. And then, of course, my website, iflyflat.com.au. If you want to follow me on Instagram to see my pictures, that's just at iflyflat.
Love it. Steve, really appreciate it. You're changing the game. You're definitely changing how people view travel, making it more easy and more accessible. And I just really appreciate you and everything you're doing for people out there.
Thank you so much, James. I just want, if more people can travel, bring back great ideas, then that's the goal.